Kia ora, and welcome to Friday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news that while the real economy is barely able to expand, but is in fact doing so modestly, there are two extreme bubbles brewing: the AI firm valuations and the Prettel's Meshels valuations. One or both will end sometime, and the losses will be extraordinary when they do, likely hurting the real economy when it happens. But who knows when? Financial market risk aversion is in evidence today in the bond markets. And there are other stresses, of course: geopolitical, retribution, stupidity, commodity distortions, climate, etc., and they have to play out at the same time. But first, in the US, their economic data is dominated today by the October version of the Philadelphia Fed Factory Survey for the important Pennsylvania Rust Belt region. That reported an unexpectedly sharp slowdown in activity and a 6-month low in this index. If there is a silver lining, however, there, it is that new order levels picked up from what they were at very low levels. Not helping, however, is that firms are again reporting higher than average cost increases. Most firms reported struggles passing on those higher costs in higher prices. American house building activity has been struggling for the past 5 months, but sentiment in the industry picked up in October somewhat, mainly on the expectation that lower interest rates would help. It's a sentiment improvement, not an actual activity improvement, however. Yesterday we noted slightly improved factory sentiment in the New York State area, but today we can report that their services sector is in a tough spot. In fact, it's lowest since the pandemic affected January 2021. It is glum there, and firms are not expecting much improvement. In Canada, their small business sentiment has turned negative too. But Canada's house building sector is on a roll, reporting sharp housing starts again in September and well above what analysts were expecting. That is now 5 of the past 6 months with elevated housing start data. Across the Pacific in Japan, core machinery orders, excluding large volatile sectors, fell 0.9% in August from July to 8.9 trillion yen, but it was much less than the sharp 4.6% drop in July. Analysts had expected a small gain, however. And staying in Japan, it looks like Sanae Takaichi will in fact become Prime Minister after all, after more coalition talks. In France, the Macron-allied new Prime Minister has survived a no-confidence vote on his second attempt, bringing some stability to their political mess. In Australia, their September jobless rate ticked up higher to 4.5%, and their jobs growth, especially full-time jobs growth, came in lower than expected. And for the first time since June, when rates started falling fast, global container freight rates rose last week, overall by 2%. In the meantime, they'd fallen 52%, so that suggests these costs may be bottoming out. They are now 50% lower than year-ago levels. There were modest rises everywhere, even in the outbound China rates. There'll be activity trying to front-run potentially new tariffs by the US, and there is Christmas goods flow starting too. Bulk cargo rates rose a net 2% last week too, but in between it was unusually volatile. These latest levels are now 12% higher than year-ago levels. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 3.97% and down 8 basis points from this time yesterday. And the price of gold will start today at $4,273 an ounce, up $77 from yesterday and far away a new all-time high. Silver is up to just under $54 an ounce at an all-time high. Platinum is roaring too, now at $1,732 an ounce and up 71% from the start of the year and approaching its 2011 highs. American oil prices, however, are down $1 at just on $57.50 a barrel, while the international Brent price is down to $61 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is now just on 57.3 US cents, up 10 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, though, we're up 60 basis points at 88.4 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 10 basis points at 49.1 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index stars today are just on 61.8 and up 10 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $108,652 and down another 2% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been modest at just on plus or minus 1.9%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora. I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again on Monday.